Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're peeling back the curtain on the hidden system beneath the ballot. We're going to unpack exactly how our elections transformed into these massive billion-dollar machines. So let's jump right in. To really understand this, we've got to look way past those election day results, past the cheering crowds and the victory speeches. We need to ask a really simple, but honestly fascinating question. When exactly did democracy become so expensive? We're going to investigate the incredible logistical operations that are happening totally behind the scenes, far, far away from the TV cameras. Think about this. Modern elections are actually among the largest civilian operations that many countries will ever undertake. We're talking about thousands of workers, highly sophisticated logistics, around-the-clock communication, and just extraordinary amounts of money. It's this massive organizational machine that literally stops nations in their tracks, and the whole shebang is built entirely to secure your vote. But it wasn't always this massive. Looking back, every single new era of communication technology expanded expectations and basically added a brand new, incredibly expensive layer to the whole campaign process. Back in the 1930s, radio meant candidates suddenly needed professional speechwriters to sound perfect to millions of people at once. Then the 1960s rolled around, and television required media training, lighting experts, set designers. Fast forward to the 2000s, the internet demanded dedicated digital teams. And now? Now we've got artificial intelligence bringing in entire fields of data science. It's a huge shift. A century ago, elections were deeply personal. Candidates traveled at the speed of trains and horses, physically shaking hands in local squares. Reaching voters was totally limited by physical distance. Today? Well, today elections are global. They operate on this relentless 24/7 digital cycle, governed by algorithms and instant global live streams. The scale has basically shifted from a single room to the entire planet. Just think about the life cycle of a single modern political speech for a second. The internet totally erased time delays. So a local event is instantly live-streamed globally. And then, within minutes, it's spliced up into thousands of tiny social media clips, which sparks immediate reactions across a 24/7 news cycle. A modern campaign has to manage and react to every single step of this life cycle. In real time, around the clock. It's exhausting just thinking about it. Now, the really vital thing to grasp here is that traditional campaigning didn't just vanish when new tech arrived. Like the saying goes, modern campaigns simply layered new tools on top of old ones, and each required different expertise. Campaigns didn't stop knocking on doors when TV was invented, right? And they didn't stop printing flyers when the internet showed up. They just kept stacking new, super expensive media and highly specialized staff right on top of the old methods. Because of all these stacked requirements, modern elections are no longer just simple contests between two candidates standing at a podium. They're highly complex battles between enormous organizations, advanced technologies, and really intricate strategies. Today's candidates are surrounded by absolute armies of data scientists, vast legal teams, localized field organizers, elite cybersecurity experts. It fundamentally changes what a campaign actually looks like from the inside. Which naturally brings us to the core fuel of the modern election machine. It's the most practical question that literally all political campaigns, no matter their ideology or where they are, have to face. How in the world do we pay for all this? Well, long before a single ad ever reaches your screen, hundreds of hours of paid work have already happened. It's wild to see how massive the budget slices are for things you never even see. We're talking complex technology infrastructure, massive staff and travel logistics, strict legal compliance, and just continuous research and endless polling. That advertising slice, that's really just the tip of a very, very expensive iceberg. So how do different democracies tackle this massive financial burden? Well, they do it in different ways. Some countries rely heavily on public funding, which is allocated by the government to try and keep the playing field level. Others lean hard into private donations from individual citizens, and many use a mixed system, combining those elements with really strict transparency and disclosure rules. Impartially speaking, every nation is basically trying to balance the exact same things, encouraging open political participation while somehow maintaining public trust. But here's the thing. Despite these billions of dollars being thrown around, there is one absolutely fascinating reality we have to remember. Money can expand opportunities, but it cannot force citizens to vote a particular way. Elections are incredibly expensive because campaigns are desperately trying to mitigate uncertainty. Yet history shows us time and time again that well-funded campaigns still lose. Why? Because at the end of the day, human behavior is messy. It's complex, it's unpredictable, and voters ultimately make their own private choices. In fact, I'd argue the most valuable resource for campaigns today is no longer just money, it's attention. Campaign attention is this intense, desperate competition to get a political message noticed. Just think about your own smartphone right now. You get thousands of daily digital notifications from friends, the news, entertainment, your boss. Campaigns are spending billions just trying to break through that frantic algorithmic noise to get you to notice them for even a few seconds. And that means for modern campaigns, it's no longer just about what to communicate. It's about when, where, and how. To avoid being completely drowned out by the internet, campaigns have to perfectly coordinate their messaging across TV, podcasts, text messages, and social media platforms, all at the exact same time. It's honestly less like giving a traditional speech and more like conducting a frantic digital orchestra. Now enter the ultimate accelerant, artificial intelligence. AI is bringing some truly incredible efficiencies to campaign organizations. It can summarize massive policy documents in seconds, provide real-time language translation to reach broader demographics, instantly analyze vast voter data sets. It's a real game changer. But while it makes operations way faster, it also introduces unprecedented challenges when it comes to verifying what's real and what's, well, synthetically generated. Because of this, the burden shifts entirely to you. In the digital age, the most important skill isn't consuming information faster, it's evaluating information more carefully. As campaigns become more technologically advanced, faster, and AI-driven, the responsibility of actually finding the truth falls much heavier on the informed citizen. You have to be the ultimate filter. Let's step back for a second, though. If we have all this technology, all this access, and constant communication, did bigger, faster, and more expensive campaigns actually create a better democracy? It's a tough question. Let's take a moment to really examine the real-world consequences of this massive technological escalation. We're currently living in this profound paradox: information abundance versus information complexity. On one hand, modern voters have unprecedented, lightning-fast access to data, historical records, and vibrant platforms for free expression. It's a truly incredible opportunity. But on the other hand, this exact abundance creates intense, murky complexity. It is extremely difficult to evaluate reliable sources or identify manipulated media. We literally have more information than ever before in human history, but somehow much less certainty about what to actually trust. Because of this overwhelming complexity, healthy democracies rely heavily on the pillars of public trust. We're talking about independent election commissions, professional journalists, rigorous academic researchers, and transparent audits. Now, these independent institutions don't decide elections, but they do help voters verify facts and ensure that the democratic process itself remains trustworthy. They are the essential anchors in a very, very noisy digital world. The reality is, every generation inherits democracy, and every generation changes it. The rules of the democratic machine have never been static. From the invention of the printing press to the dawn of artificial intelligence, societies constantly evolve and adapt their systems to handle new technologies and new challenges. The system is always a work in progress. But if you strip away the billions of dollars, if you strip away the armies of data scientists, the global live streams, and all the technological spectacle, you are left with a single, undeniable truth. No algorithm casts a legal ballot. No software replaces public participation. The core of this massive, complex system is still entirely human. It all comes down to this: thud. The simple, quiet, enduring sound of a single, solitary ballot dropping into a box. Everything a billion-dollar campaign does, all the TV ads, the cross-country travel, the advanced data strategy, the social media clips, it all exists solely for that one private, human moment of decision. The campaigns of tomorrow will likely use technology we can barely even imagine today. Democracy changes with every generation, constantly adapting to the tools of its time. As this incredible machine continues to evolve into the unknown, the question remains: what will you choose to protect? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep asking the big questions.